Yo, what's up? This is Undersare, and welcome back to my channel where I like to talk about all things spooky, scary, and have a little bit of fun. Today on the channel, I have the pleasure of talking to you guys about the 9th house announced for Halloween Horror Nights this year. And what would you know, it's another one that we've been predicting all year long, isn't it? Yes, so far over here on the channel, we've had a 100% accuracy rate with predicting all of the haunted houses coming to Horror Nights this year, and I just gotta give myself a little pat on the back for that. We've only got one more haunted house to be announced so far, and I've got a pretty good idea of what I think that's gonna be. But you know what? Let's save that for the end of the video, shall we? Today, the spotlight is going to be on Terrifier. This IP announcement comes with a proper little trailer and description telling us what we're gonna be seeing here. Universal writes that Terrifier isn't clowning around. Nothing can prepare you for this grisly haunted house based on all 3 of Damien Leone's Terrifier films. Try your luck against the sadistic Art the Clown and his twisted funhouse. Witness Art's gleefully grotesque handiwork of torture. You'll be left literally dripping with terror and drenched with fear. It's a whole new level of gore. Art the Clown is coming to Universal Studios. The killer clown will terrorize guests in real life in an all-new Terrifier-themed haunted house. Coming to Universal Orlando Resort on Friday, August 29th, and to Universal Studios Hollywood on Thursday, September 4th. The character, created by writer-director Damien Leone, first appeared in a short film way back in 2008. He made his jump to features in 2016's Terrifier, which for a lowbrow, low-budget, and super intense horror movie was a surprise hit. This film was followed by Terrifier 2 in 2022, and Terrifier 3 in 2024, and in classic slasher style, there is a 4th entry already in development here. Art is described in the official release as a supernatural entity who terrorizes the fictional town of Miles County, New York on Halloween, and tortures victims in creatively cruel and sickeningly sinister ways. According to Universal, during HHN, guests will experience an unfathomable level of gore as they try to escape becoming Art the Clown's next victim. The new house is oozing with a new sense of terror that takes guests into Art the Clown's gruesome funhouse, which first appeared in Terrifier 2. Guests will be overwhelmed by the sights, the sounds, the smells, and the dread of Art's grotesque kills, gleefully laid out and displayed with such pageantry for all to see. As fans make their way through the claustrophobic corridors, they will encounter familiar faces, including Vicky and the little pale girl, as well as witness iconic kills from the franchise. Chaos reigns at the Clown Cafe, terror festers in a revolting bathroom, and holiday cheer turns deadly in a Christmas nightmare. Additionally, you can get new Terrifier Halloween Horror Nights merchandise, including a t-shirt and bag now available at both resorts. I'm really excited to see how the facade turns out for this over in Orlando, but we can see that over in Hollywood, it's already kind of coming together. Because of the way that the whole park's laid out over at Universal Studios Hollywood, it's a lot easier to get eyes on some of these things. And people have been speculating for a long time now that this was going to be the Terrifier funhouse. It's cool to see that this is kind of coming to fruition here. Alright, so no more speculation there. We know that this is going to be based on all 3 of the Terrifier movies that have been released so far. And since there's so many more Terrifier movies being planned to come out, I mean, they're really just going to throw as many of these out as they can in true slasher fashion. It's safe to say that there's a lot of content that HHN can borrow from here in the future if they really want to. I personally think it's a really cool and really great idea to just slam all 3 of the films that we've gotten so far into this house. That way, there will truly be a little bit of something for everybody here. And across the board this year, that seems to be what Horror Nights is going for, isn't it? This thing promises to be nasty, and I'm sure that there are so many scenes across all of the movies that they could really borrow from in order to make that a reality. A few things just right off the top of the dome to think of. The Clown Cafe, I'm sure that that's gonna go over pretty crazy. We're all gonna be very sick and tired of hearing that song playing by the end of the year, I can promise you that. But speaking of the Clown Cafe, do you think that they'll be getting like a little food booth decorated and themed out like that this year? It'd be a missed opportunity if they didn't, I swear. Another memorable kill that absolutely has to be included here would be the hacksaw kill. If you've seen the first movie, you absolutely know what I mean. I don't know if that would be too vulgar for Halloween Horror Nights, but I'm sure that they'll find one way or another to make it work. It's been promised that this Terrifier house is going to be gorier and more bloody than anything anything we've ever seen at Horror Nights before, and that really says a lot. Just thinking back in some recent years, we've had some pretty wildly gory haunted houses. I mean, Hellblock Horror, Blood Moon Dark Offerings, any of the Nightingales, Triplets of Terror even was pretty insane and bizarre, you know what I mean? So how exactly do you think we could be raising the bar here? Maybe it'll be with some of these more extreme kills that we've seen throughout this Terrifier franchise. Art the Clown gets busy, and he gets to work in the nastiest of ways. It's interesting that they mentioned there's going to be a bathroom scene, and I can absolutely promise you that that's going to smell so bad that nobody's going to want to go near it. Straight up, RIP the people that have to work in that house, especially in that room. That is going to be filthy. Well, not actually filthy, but the smell will definitely be there. It's going to be really cool to see how they do the Terrifier funhouse in both parks. Thinking back to when they did Us, they did the whole like shaman experience funhouse thing inside of that haunted house over in Orlando. Pretty sure they did it over in Hollywood too. And man, that thing took my breath away the first time I saw it. I was even lucky enough that on my behind the scenes tour, when we were walking around taking pictures of things, they let us go and take pictures of that even though it wasn't on my tour. It was a really cool perk, and oh my goodness, this thing was just so beautiful. I really hope that the Terrifier funhouse inspires that same awe-striking moment when we get there and we get to see it in person for the first time. And another thing that I think is really gonna hit home with Terrifier fans and just fans of Halloween Horror Nights in general is the whole Christmassy vibe that the third one has. For some reason or another, people absolutely love to see Christmas-related things come to Halloween Horror Nights, and this will for sure scratch that itch that people have. There is truly just so much subject matter and so much material for them to draw from to make these haunted houses absolutely terrifying. I mean, yeah, Terrifier, you know? Art the Clown is truly something special. He's not your run-of-the-muck, everyday slasher clown. Now that I think about it, maybe here on the channel I should cover all 3 of the Terrifier movies and dissect them, seeing exactly what kind of scenes, what kind of kills, and what kind of things could be coming to Halloween Horror Nights this year. If that sounds like something that would interest you, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to let me know. But with this being the 9th house for Halloween Horror Nights this year, that means we've only got 1 more to go. And considering that we've been 100% correct so far this year, I'd be willing to bet money that this is going to be the Bray Wyatt house at this point. In fact, I'm betting so hard on it that I'm currently working on a video that should be released tomorrow about that exact topic. Now, I know a lot of people who are in the Horror Nights community that aren't exactly acquainted to the whole wrestling or Bray Wyatt thing don't understand how wrestling could be scary. And to me, that kinda just sounds like a trolly thing to say, you know what I mean? Okay, I get it. Maybe you are absolutely, completely unfamiliar with the whole thing and you just don't have any idea where we're coming from. But even then, really, just, you gotta look at the imagery, you gotta look at the things that we got here for these characters, and if you can't tell me that this wouldn't make her a great haunted house, then you're just playing yourself at that point. But, for the people that would like to know more, I'm working on a video going over the entire lore for Bray Wyatt's character, following through all of his different character arcs and all that. And trust me, I'm not gonna bore you HHN fans with all of the matches, the wins and losses, and championship title runs, all that, you know what I mean? No, I know that's not what you guys are here for. Instead, we're just going to be talking about the lore of the character itself. We're going to be talking about The Fiend, the Firefly Funhouse, the Wyatt 6, and exactly why I think that it's going to make for a great haunted house at Horror Nights. But also, we've got a whole bunch of scare zones that haven't even been announced yet. What's going on with that? Where are those at? And are we expecting any IP scare zones this year? Well, no, we definitely are not. Not looking like we're getting any IP scare zones this year. I do believe that I have a pretty good idea of what kind of scare zones could be coming to the event this year already, though. I've talked about it in a couple videos that I've got over on the channel, so be sure to go browse those if you haven't seen them just yet. We've been following trails and speculation on these guys for a long time now, and it's really starting to look like these could be accurate. And some of them look really cool, too. Interestingly enough, one of these scare zones is said to possibly even be something from Slaughter Cinema 2, which I think would be really cool. We've never had a scare zone from Slaughter Cinema, let alone a scare zone and a house from the same thing at the same time. That would be pretty interesting if it were to come to fruition. Also, while I've got my HHN crowd here, let me talk to you guys a little bit about this Blumhouse video I've been working on. You see, I personally have some gripes with Jason Blum and the Blumhouse banner and the way that they run things in particular. It has nothing to do with Halloween Horror Nights, and it has nothing to do with all of the houses and IPs that you love to see over at the event. But I do personally believe that the way that this guy Jason Blum just churns out horror movies for for as cheap as he can over and over again. As many as he can crank out a year is just net bad for horror in general. It oversaturates the market, it's not good for anybody, it gets these people paid terribly, it totally just screws up bidding contract wars for movies. The whole thing is just bad. I've done a ton of research about it, I've got a whole video prepped and planned, it's gonna be about like 30 minutes long. But at the end of the day, it just feels a little bit mean-spirited, you know? And I mean, like, I'm just a YouTuber in my bedroom making movies, there's nothing that I'm gonna do to Jason Blum's, there's no reason for it to be mean-spirited, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just worried that my Horror Nights fans over here will just take that the wrong way and think that I'm ripping on something that they absolutely enjoy. So maybe I'll hold off on that for a little bit longer. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below how you're feeling about that as well. I've got a ton of horror content that I'm working on right now, and I've got a ton of HHN content to push out as well. So if any of that sounds like something that would interest you, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content just like this over on the channel. I've got hours of awesome horror content over in my catalog, so be sure to give that a browse. You'll probably find some other videos you enjoy as well. And if you really like them, send them over to a friend you think might like them too. But as always, I've been Eldritch Terror, and whether your day's been going good or bad today, I hope it gets better.